Welcome back to Flick Flops. This week, we're not actually talking about any particular film. We're talking about all the films. We are going to discuss some of the movies that we watched this year and reviewed and tell you what was the bottom of the barrel and what were the ones that we liked the most. So it's a year in review for 2024. Andy, how you want to start this list?
I'm ready. I got my top 9, Gary.
Top 9.
Nice round number.
I've got a top 10. So we could kind of
top 10. Do people usually have 10?
I mean, we've kind of discussed maybe doing 5. I had a little struggle because a lot of these are
I did too.
Kind of in the same spot for me. So I think there's a few that you don't have on your list. And I'm sure that you have some that I don't. So
yeah, I started with 5, and then I was like, oh, I like this one. So let me just say, look, I really enjoy what we're doing here, Gary, and I don't know. If any of the 3 people that still watch, hey man, thanks. For nothing else, look, Gary and I, this is just a reason for us to go watch movies and talk about them.
Yeah,
it's like I have to tell Teresa, honey,
look, things we like to do.
I don't want to go to the movie. I have to go to the movie. It's for work.
It's part of my job that I don't get paid for.
Gary said I have to go see this movie in the theater tonight. I mean, I know it's unfortunate, but that's what I'm doing.
Talk to Gary.
I just blame Gary for everything. But my wife I'll say that. This is I've really enjoyed the past year. I don't even know how many movies we did this year. 50.
At this point, we've got 50. Yeah. We just recorded the 50th. So when you see this one, this is probably going to be episode like 51 of the year. So
I love it. It forces us to take time and watch movies. I mean, you think that's funny. Oh, you got to force you to watch a movie, but we pick specific movies. So it's like, look, you leave it up to me. I'm going to watch, Notting Hill 20 times this year. Gary's probably watching Star Wars again.
Actually not.
So this makes me go see movies that I didn't know about. A lot of these, when Gary brings them up, I'm like, yeah, this is cool, man. Yeah. And I still love the theater experience, even though it's still pricey and we can all complain about that. I still love sitting down in that theater seat. I love the credits. I love everything. I love it's a little loud. I'm getting older. It's a little loud, and the movies run a little long. The bladder can't hold like it used to.
That's right.
Overall, though, I had a good time. So I've got some movies here, Gary. How do you want to talk about these things?
Well, I am going to start at the lower end of my top 10. And again, I just want to mention that some of these came in right around the same, like how I felt about them it was so hard to pick just 5 out of the top.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with mentioning what I thought this to me was a standout of the year. It's got a throwback vibe. It's got an ominous tone that captivates. And even if the third act doesn't fully stick the landing, Late Night with the Devil.
Oh yeah. I'm going to highlight that one, Gary.
I was going to say, well, I probably should have printed mine so I could highlight if we
on my list. It was actually the first movie I wrote down on my list was Late Night with the Devil.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean it's my number one. It was the first thing that came to my head. I was like, what movie I love? And I loved that movie.
It's a great movie.
So glad I saw that movie.
Why don't you throw one out?
It's a hard one to follow. Well, I'm gonna throw one out that I did not expect anything out of.
Okay.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, and like Gary just mentioned, this was somewhat of a throwback for me. I'm not sure if that's the way it is, but that's the way it played to me. And this movie was a total surprise for me for 2024, and that is The Last Stop in Yuma County.
Yep.
I love this movie. I enjoyed it. When it came up, I was scrolling through. I was like, oh my God, I so enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
And it's one I would have never seen. Honestly, I would have never watched this movie had I not been told by more than one person that you need to see this movie. And so I'll reiterate, if you haven't seen this one, you should. Just like you should see Late Night with the Devil if you have not seen that movie.
My comment on Last Stop is a compelling slow burn thriller with Tarantino-esque vibes, featuring a lead character whose unpredictable choices add to the fun.
Yes. I totally agree with everything you just said.
I made a one-line comment for every one of these, so to make
I didn't even do that.
All right, I'm going to do a throwback. It's one we watched this year, but it's a movie that came out a couple years ago, I think. But it was still a movie that I loved, and I talked you into watching because it reminded me of another movie that's on this list, and that film is The Menu.
Okay, I don't have that on my list, so
I have a sharply executed film with stellar performances and thought-provoking message, making it both meaningful and highly entertaining.
I have that in a category on my other side of the page with a question mark because I didn't know where to put this movie. So I'm glad you mentioned because I was like, I don't know what to do with this movie.
Yeah.
And if you've seen it, you know where I'm coming from. It's a little like I don't know if I'm supposed to like this movie. And if I do, is there something wrong with me?
It's one of those ones that just
but it was good. I mean, that in a good way.
It's hard to define.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I just wasn't willing to commit to it being one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah. Well, it's one of my favorites from when it came out, but we watched it this year, so I wanted to include it as part of my, if anything, honorable mentions. So what else you got?
Well, I'm going to go, this is for me. I'm pretty sure Gary does not have this film on his list of best.
Probably not, if it's what I think it is.
It's the third movie in the series. Terrifier 3. I'm all in on Art the Clown. And I'm not saying it's great. I enjoyed it. This is my top 9 list. So you want to make your own list and you want to talk crap about it, knock yourself out. I'm sure if Gary flips his page over to be on the bad side, but
actually it wouldn't be, but it's
I love these. And we did Terrifier 2 also earlier this year.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
But I chose 3 because it came out this year. And I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but I like Terrifier 3. I probably like 2 a little better if I had to be honest, but
yeah, it's interesting because I actually thought 3 was a more solid film as far as actually made it feel more like a franchise. In the third one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I felt like it made big steps past the problems that I had with these movies.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that because you're like, this thing starts to answer questions.
It's starting to gel a little bit more for me.
I don't think you go to your head going, I just don't quite get that part.
Yeah. All right, Andy. Well, I'm going to switch to a tension-filled thriller that keeps you rooting for the main character, even though the lead's occasional wooden performance slightly dampens the experience. At least it did for me, although it was a really good movie. And it's the reason that it made me think of The Menu, which is why I had you watch The Menu, and that's What You Wish For.
Oh, yeah. So that was going to be, I didn't put it on my list because I forgot to write it down, but that was on another question mark film because it was one of those ones where I was like, I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should have enjoyed the movie.
It's the same. It's tonally around the same as The Menu, which is, I think, what led to it. So,
absolutely. But a good movie, just very strange when you keep talking about it. Did you procure the produce yet? I'm like, just go down to the produce market. I mean, I'm not getting what you're talking about.
Oranges and shit, man. Come on.
Settle down, bro. I'll get you a mango.
Right.
That was a good one. Gary, I'm gonna go with I'm trying to decide how I want to go here. I don't want to. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way.
Go for it.
This movie is I will probably say this is probably my favorite movie of the year.
I know which one you're gonna pick.
Do you want me to hold off on it?
Yeah, you can pick it. It's high on my list.
Heretic.
Yeah.
This movie was everything I'm looking for in a movie. Now, this is just me personally. It just was so. The anticipation for this film was there, and it delivered everything I wanted to. And plus, we just recently saw it, so it's probably pretty fresh in my head.
Mm-hmm.
God, this movie was so entertaining for me, and I don't think it's for everybody, but
no, probably not. But
not in a bad way. Just it's the subject matter is a little touchy for some people, and I respect that. But this is, and I said if I had to be pushed into what was your favorite film, I have 2 that are contenders. This is one of them.
Yeah, this one landed at kind of number 2 for me.
I have a feeling which number one is, and I'm probably on the same boat with you.
The fight with the other one is basically more because they're two different types of movies completely, which makes it kind of difficult. I will say for Heretic, I wrote a thought-provoking thriller that expertly balances faith and science within a horror framework, offering a unique and impactful experience.
Yes.
I did think it was thought-provoking. It may be for people that are theologists or people in that field, it may seem academic, not academic enough for them. But I think for the casual viewer, it's a great entry into that kind of struggle with science and faith and belief. And I thought it played it well, and I thought it was a balanced approach too.
Fascinating approach to a topic that's a little touchy.
Yep.
So,
Andy, I'm going to bring up one. I know we probably agree on the number one, so I'm going to kind of wait, or not number one, but the one we struggle with. I'm going to come to one that I'm pretty sure is not on your list, but I want to mention it because I actually enjoyed this. It is not a movie from this year, but it is one we reviewed this year. It fell flat for you. For me, a delightful relaunch with John Hamm, nailing the book accurate portrayal, although it's bittersweet knowing that there are no sequels planned. I enjoyed Confess Fletch.
Yes, you did, Gary. It is it is on my list of bad.
I'm not surprised by that. That's why I thought our list would have some differences.
And I debated this because I was like, I so enjoy John Hamm.
Yeah.
But I actually watched part of our review of this one again. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I really didn't enjoy this movie. So
fair enough.
But I'll give you that. That's why you say tomato and I say I don't like tomatoes.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't know if that's how the saying goes, but
all right, your turn. Different interpretation of it, Gary.
Your turn to bring a Rotten Tomato into this.
I'm gonna go with one that I was pleasantly surprised with.
Okay.
It was, I don't want to say it's a remake, but it was there's an original version of this film that I hold very dear to my heart. This was a modern version of it.
Interesting.
And that film is called Wonka.
Interesting. Yeah, I did not put that on my list.
I just genuinely enjoyed this movie, and
I
don't think it's gonna be on anybody's top 10 list. Don't misunderstand me. I mean, it's on my top 9, but our list is limited to what we've seen, so I can't compare it to other films. I can't compare it to what I've seen this year that we've reviewed.
Yeah.
And I just went back. I was like, I just really enjoyed this movie. So Wonka is on my list.
Wonka's I actually enjoyed that movie. Going into it, I actually had zero. I wouldn't say zero interest, but I just had low expectations for it. And I sometimes that's a better way to see a film, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And as a result, I ended up really enjoying that. So, I mean, not on my top 10, but it was a good movie.
Well, that's what I was at, because I didn't see the Tim Burton remake because it just didn't even look good to me. I like Tim Burton. I just didn't see the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's this one going to be? But I thought they did a wonderful job telling the story of young Willy Wonka. So anyway.
Yeah.
What do you got, Gary?
Right. I have got a prequel.
Ooh.
Kind of like Wonka was a prequel in a way. With exhilarating action, which expands the universe of the franchise and has a gritty, chaotic world. And that is the Mad Max saga film, Furiosa.
That almost was my number 10. I swear to God, I was like,
I wish I would have seen it in the theater.
Yes.
That was a mistake not seeing it. I think did that have a long run time? I think that may have turned me off initially with going to see it. And then it didn't. I mean, I think it did. Did it do fairly well? I think it didn't. I think it kind of was in and out fairly quickly. I don't recall.
I don't recall. I just know that these modern retake second versions of the Mad Max stories are great.
Yeah.
Like, they're just. I mean, I go back and watch the original Mad Max. Not a great movie. It's a cult favorite. We love it. But the movie overall isn't great. And I don't mean to cause it's a hot take. I know it's a controversial take.
I've seen it again recently, this past year.
It's timely, I know. But but you watch these modern versions of what they're doing and like, man, these are good movies, man.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, great action scenes.
Yeah.
Amazingly shot.
I agree.
And high octane. I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah, good deal, bro.
All right, your turn, brother.
I'll go with one that I didn't expect anything out of because I had not seen the original. This is a sequel.
Interesting, because I do not have whatever this is on my list.
Smile 2.
Smile 2, yeah.
This film for me, because again, I haven't seen the first one.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a sequel to a film. I have no idea what it's about. I was on the edge of, I literally was up on the edge of my seat. Like, this movie just got me pulled right in.
Yeah.
And I even thought the concept of the film was just kind of like, this is kind of dumb. Like, I don't even get what this is even about. So well done.
Yeah.
I still am not positive what was real and what was fake as far as the universe they were in.
Yeah.
And I just like, you know what? I so enjoyed that movie. And I don't even know if I want to see the first one. I just enjoyed the second one so well.
I feel like the second one is a better film. My issue with it and why it didn't land in my top 10 would just be that third act. I feel like it unknit so much that was there from earlier in the movie that you're kind of
scene specifically. Yeah, one scene specifically totally like let me down.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the core.
Yeah.
But other than that, just a film that kind of had me like, man, you said it earlier, sometimes going into a movie without having any idea or low expectations is the best way. I mean, I had no idea what this film was about. None. And I was like, man, this is.
I will say, and I don't know if I mentioned this during our review, I felt like, am I watching my favorite movie of the year as I was watching that movie?
Yeah.
And which is, I think that might have been even more why I felt so disappointed at the end, because it did this reversal on you that just, it felt like it was.
To let you know, I know, Gary, it is not your favorite.
It is not. This will not even land on your top 10 list. But a good movie, overall good movie. And I think probably going back and seeing it again, I probably will like it more than I did. Now that I know some stuff, it might be more fun to watch, but.
Oh, sure. Stuff to look for.
Yeah. My next movie, this to me was a standout in the horror genre, in the fun category of horror. I think that its potential was undercut by the fact that what could have been a great reveal in the movie was actually spoiled by the trailer, and it was probably the intent to get people there. But I think Abigail was a great movie. I felt like that was a lot of fun. And again, I think it'd be so much better if you didn't know what Abigail was going into it. So,
yeah, I agree. I don't have that on my list, but I agree with you on that. I thought you were going to say Mousetrap.
Mousetrap.
I was like, Gary really liked that movie. Did I miss something? I mean, yes, it's a spoiler in the opening scene.
That does get an honorable mention somewhere else. Spoiler alert.
I was like, was he going to say Mousetrap? Please, I'm not prepared for this.
Yeah. What do you got? I've got 2 left.
I've got 3.
Okay.
Somehow I don't know how I have still 3 left. Well, one of them is going to be, I think, the same thing you're talking about. So I will go with a movie that we just recently did, and I truly enjoyed it. Sticking with the horror genre. This was a brilliant filmmaker's attempt to make a holiday horror film, and he did it, and that's Thanksgiving. I just enjoy this movie. I enjoy Eli Roth, and this is one I will probably, especially with just having Black Friday happen. Oh my God. I mean, that's all I thought about was like, oh my gosh, this movie. And Yeah, I this was a well done movie. I'll still push that on people. You should watch it. There's a couple little twists and turns that you don't. At least I didn't see coming, and Roth
Yeah.
does a great job with this. And I hope there's more to come from him like this. So Thanksgiving was ends
Yeah.
up on my list.
Yeah, it's a good movie. And there's a nice little twist in there that I actually, a lot of times I we'll talk about this some other time, I think, because I don't know if we're going to review it or not. But there's a movie I saw recently that I thought was a good movie, even though I saw the ending telegraphed from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's one that got me. Thanksgiving got me because they pull a little trick with one of the characters there. If
They absolutely do. Absolutely do.
And it works. It worked. And so yeah, good. That's a good one. It did not put in my top 10, but it was definitely a good movie. I think that's one of the ones I changed my rating on in the middle of us talking about it because I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. Before we talk about the other one, this is one that I don't think you scored this one very high. So this is probably one that's not on your list. This is a big screen adaptation of a television show that I thought had a great cast, had great humor, great action. Of course, being directed by an actual previous stuntman makes it so. And that is The Fall Guy.
That is on my.
Is that on the shit list?
So I'll tell you when I flip my page of where it ended up.
Okay. All right. That's all I got other than my number one. So
my last one before we get to what I think we both have agreed universally probably be the best film of the year. For us anyway, is my last one. Gary, is I got to get close to the mic and just say I'm just a beekeeper.
That's funny.
I really enjoyed The Beekeeper, man, or Beekeeper, whatever.
Beekeeper.
How do you not like Statham? I mean, honestly, and it's, I don't know. I just was like scrolling through and I was like, God, I really enjoyed that. Man, I could watch that again.
The Beekeeper. Yeah, that's a good movie. I liked it.
Who is this guy? I'm just a beekeeper.
Yeah.
Former CIA, special ops, Navy SEAL, Delta Force, beekeeper.
Right.
So all right. Go with number one, who I think you and I will be in a total agreement here.
The fact that you haven't mentioned it yet, I thought this movie was an absolute blast. Razor sharp humor is what I put. High octane action in this film. An engaging story, mostly.
Great dancing.
Easily one of the most entertaining movies this year. Deadpool and Wolverine.
Positively, man. It's on my last one on the list.
I mean, I just really, really loved that movie.
So for me, like I said, I had two. So I love Heretic.
Yeah.
But these two films are nothing alike.
Right.
So if we're going to break down, like, films are somewhat serious, Heretic is hands down the best film I've seen all year. And probably in the past couple years. For just sheer enjoyment, Deadpool and Wolverine is it's just so good. It's so entertaining. I mean, even like Teresa, who's not a superhero movie at all, she walked out going, "Man, that was exciting." I said, "It just was." I didn't want it to end.
Yeah. Tara really liked it too. So that's a testament to the wide range of audience for that film as well. Well done movie. Well done. I mean, we had a lot of agreements. We definitely had a few.
Yeah, I think
not so much. But
well, I mean, you and I are pretty similar in taste.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some oddities with stuff like Terrifier that I can't explain, or the Winnie the Pooh movies. I can't.
Right.
I can't make you understand it. It's just, I just like it. So anyway,
everybody's got their thing.
That's why I still have Bullet Boys on my playlist.
All right. Are we going to do our turds of the year, or do you want to save that, or are we doing it now?
Let's do some bad.
Let's bust into the turds and TPs.
I'm smoking some turds here.
I will tell you that I will start with an honorable mention.
Go.
Because I've got 5, and while I'm sure others could land on this list, I will just start with The Mousetrap as an honorable mention
for bad.
for bad.
These are all bad. Gary can make great.
This was a terrible film that I will never watch again. And as will be the rest of these. So for the record.
Yes.
Any honorable mention before we get to the top 5?
Well, we could do I have a couple that if you would have, they're not honorable mentions. I have 3 that are question marks.
Dishonorable mentions? That's what you should call it. Dishonorable mentions.
3 that are question marks and 2 that I listed as what I call disappointments.
Okay. Well, one of those disappointments has landed in my top 5, I can guarantee you.
Well, Gary has Fall Guy. I have that as a disappointment, and it just, I didn't hate it. It just was like, I don't know. I had issues with the film.
Wrong.
It's so wrong. So we already mentioned that one. So I'll say my other one that's a disappointment for me. Yeah. It's not that it was a bad movie. It's the premise. It's the title you gave the movie. And that was called Roadhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Because it just, again, when you give a film a title that's relatively iconic.
Yeah.
A certain group of people, the generation knows the film Roadhouse. And when you do not live up to that, in my opinion, you made a decent action flick. I have no problem with the action. I said it before. It was a good action flick.
Yeah.
Just name it anything else, and I would have been okay with this film. So for me, I'm hung up on the title. You can be mad at me. You can think I'm petty. I don't care. It's just it's my list. Make your own damn list. Those are my 2 disappointments of the year.
Okay. Disappointments.
And they're remakes.
I was going to say they're sort of. Fall Guy is kind of a different animal, but yeah. Go ahead. All right. What else? What's your question marks were?
The menu. Just because I didn't understand what to put this.
And what you wish for?
Well, I didn't write it down, but yes, that's in there.
The coffee table? Is that a question mark? Okay.
Because I'm still bothered by this film.
That's still one of those. That's a movie that did it need to be made?
No.
Probably not. But I'm glad it was.
Yeah, it's a little.
Kinda. Like
so it's not a good, it's not a bad. It's just like, okay.
It's like really,
it's a movie.
It's that's one of the ones you're wondering when in the discussion at the brainstorming session on that one.
Yeah,
you're like, we could make a movie that this happens, and then who went aces? Let's do it.
All right, I gotta look. Do you see this blank check? Your name on it. Go for it.
This light couldn't be greener. You are. All right. Anyway, so
you're gonna open up with decapitating a baby. I'm in. Hold on. Put that in a memo.
I have these. These are my bottom 5. I don't think they're necessarily any. They're kind of in an order. So it depends on how you want to do it. You want to go 5 to 1 or?
Well, so I've got like I got 6 bad. I got 1 more just question mark. Do we throw that real quick?
Yeah, throw the question mark.
Question mark. Only because I'm not sure how I feel about the film even to this day. And that's Long Legs.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not good, it's not bad. I'm just not sure if I think I liked it. But I'm not I think I liked it mostly because Nick Cage was a little bizarre in this film.
Yeah.
But I don't think the film was necessarily great. And it got a lot of hype, and I don't think it lived up to the hype for me. So Long Legs.
Yeah.
I still tell people you should see it, but just,
I think it's a lot easier to watch streaming and without the hype. Yes. I think the hype kind of did hurt it. My audience ruined it for me with the laughing at the Cage scenes because I'm like, I want that to be demented and weird, and it's not because they're all laughing and taking.
Yeah, you guys are taking me right out of it. So
that's another one of those ones where I think that if you didn't know Cage was that character, it would have been a blown away moment.
That should have been uncredited.
Yeah,
would have been much better. So anyway, now we can get into our countdown, and boy, I don't know how to pick which one's the worst, Gary. I have a 6 turd sandwiches here.
I've got that. Well, I just mentioned one of my honorable mentions. Mousetrap could have been my 6th. So, okay. So what's your 6th?
Creepypasta.
Creepypasta landed as in my list. It's number 1. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have them in my order. Although oddly enough, the first 2 that I wrote were I think 2 of the worst films I've ever seen. So creepypasta just this film isn't for me. It wasn't meant for me,
No,
and
I'm not sure it was meant for anybody.
and even when you explain the whole mythos behind creepypasta,
Yeah.
It still doesn't make it any better.
No, it was a bunch of disjointed stories that were tried to have an overarching plot that tied them all together, and that was weak. And all of the stories were.
I think wasn't there one story that we both kind of went, that one's not bad if you maybe flesh that one out a little better, but the rest of the stuff is just put on.
But the only thing I'll say about that is it's like finding it's like the reverse of like eating peanut M&Ms and you get that one bad M&M. This is the reverse. Like if all the bad M&Ms were bad and you got one good one, and you're like, well, at least there was the good one
out of this whole bag.
No, it was terrible. And it's just that one was a little better than the rest of them. So it stood out. It was the shiny part of the turd, Andy.
Oh, I think I will accept. The judges will allow that review, Gary.
All right. Then you started with creepypasta. I will start with The Exorcism. Okay. Despite what were good performances in there, the convoluted story, just the whole, the writing was terrible. The actors did their best for it. It is the worst exorcism themed movie I've ever seen. And
we've seen The Pope's Exorcist.
But go see Pope's Exorcist before. Yeah. If you want to see Russell Crowe in an exorcism movie,
man of cloth,
see that one. That one was confusing that he was in it. And I found nothing redeeming in it at all, other than the fact I could say that the performances were good, but when you're working with a script that's garbage, I mean, good on them, I guess, for landing some decent acting, but give them something to work with. All right, what do you got?
My next one on the list will be I like this filmmaker a lot. Did not like this film a lot. The Trap. Or Trap. Not The Trap. Trap.
The Trap is what it was. Trap is what it was called. That was a however many minute long commercial for his daughter. It was a nepotistic nightmare for the viewer.
I would put it this way. I enjoy the meme of the Star Wars character saying it's a trap way more than I enjoyed that entire movie.
There you go.
What's the guy's name? Captain
Admiral Akbar. I believe.
I would take Admiral Akbar just saying it's a trap.
Yes.
For 119 minutes.
Yes. On a loop. Yes.
It'd be way more entertaining than this film.
Yeah, that movie was flawed from the get-go, and it just got worse in the third act. It went from convoluted to absolutely unbelievable in any aspect of the real world.
Yes, agreed.
A super turd that did not land in my top 5, however, was a piece of crap. It was fighting for contention among the top 5.
Don't forget how bad I was. Oh, I'm well aware. Good day.
Somehow elevated slightly above or below that would be Beazle. It's my next one.
Interesting.
A B movie that is more like
a C movie,
which is more like a D grade. Is actually what I wrote. An ambitious attempt at a B movie that landed in the D grade.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. I didn't pick that one.
Yeah.
I wanted to have some redeeming qualities for that movie, and maybe I just need to watch our review again and go, yeah, that's right, the movie was a turd.
It started really good. It started good, and I thought it had potential, and I think there is a good potential for story in there. I just think where it went from that first kind of opening scene, it just went downhill.
Yeah.
and never came back up.
I think a lot of films suffer from, and at least you and I talk about this a lot, is we need a little more backstory. Like, I'll buy into your crazy world, but don't make it really crazy, because then I start to suspend that suspension.
Yeah.
I start going, well, that doesn't make a lick of sense. Like, now, come
Yeah.
on. I'm accepting that there's this ancient demon that lives in the basement. Got it. Oh, wait, let me go into this creepy hidden door. Well,
Yeah.
no, wait a minute. No one would do that.
You were going to escape. You were going to be the one to escape. And
no one would do it. In real life, you wouldn't do that. You'd never say, what's in this creepy door?
I got to get out of here. I'm going to get killed. Ooh, shiny door.
What are you doing here?
All right, what do you got, Andy?
Oh, Gary.
Beazle crap.
So my final four here is a real final four.
Okay.
I don't want to steal any thunder from you, so I'm trying to think, which one could I take and let you still have some thunder too? I will go with The Crow.
Crow is not in my bottom. Sorry, 5.
What?
Look.
This epically piece of shit is not
Here's my take on The Crow. The remake never needed to be made.
Please.
If you are not a comic book fan and you have never seen the original and you know nothing about any of it, you might see that movie and think it wasn't too bad.
And you hate yourself.
Oh, I forgot that part. And
you always leave that part out. If you hate yourself, want to kill some time.
Because other than that, yeah, not a good movie. But
again, this just echoes back to Roadhouse theory.
Yeah.
When you are going to use a title of a beloved film, don't shit on it. You're just setting yourself up to be ridiculed, and that's what happened with this film.
Yeah,
horrible.
They had a great script to work from, the comic book.
What?
I don't know why they didn't kind of stick to that if they were going to do that, and they just went so far off the modernizing or whatever their thought was.
How many times do you and I, as old school comic book guys, say so many times? I have 8 boxes of comics right now I can see from where I'm sitting. Yeah. I'd say there's probably easily 100 amazing stories in those 8 boxes.
Yeah.
Hollywood, I mean, what are you doing? And you don't even need to have a great writer. It's already been done.
Right.
Whatever it costs, buy the rights from Frank Miller and just make all his stuff. Or Neil Gaiman, Alan Grant. I mean, there's plenty of work out there that's already done.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm now in my blood pressure. I'm getting hot.
None of that.
Jesus Christ.
That's good in your cold basement.
Got me fired up
Andy,
already. Get fired up, Gary.
Here's the description of my next one. See if you can figure out what movie this is. While the story is unique, the slow pacing and lack of relatable characters might not resonate with everyone, especially older audiences. Wow, that's super vague. I don't know that you're going to come up with it.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
It was a long piece of crap.
I think it's my number 1.
Oh. Okay.
Say it on the count of 3. Want to say it together?
If you can get it from that, I'd be surprised. I would actually be surprised. What letters does it start with?
S.
Wow, I think you do have it.
And it ends with alt burn.
Yes.
Oh, what a colossal turn this was.
Yes, it was. Oh my gosh.
That was the very first film I wrote down. But before I even did good and bad, I wrote Saltburn, and I wrote bad above it.
Shitburn.
And the thing that's crazy is my daughter loved it. I was like, what?
That's it. That's the thing. So that's why I said the especially older on it, because I think maybe if you're younger and you've never experienced a really good movie in that kind of genre,
or just a good movie.
Well, yeah. I can
give you 100 movies to watch besides that.
You know what's funny about that movie in a way is how when you're watching it, you're like, well, maybe it'll get better. And you give that movie a chance. And by the end of it, you're like, it never did get better. And I now gave it like 25 chances along the way.
You're waiting for it to get better, and the credits are rolling. You're like,
You're like,
oh
wait a minute.
man, you got me good. Damn it to hell.
Yeah, that was one I feel like I was pretty angry about.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't say that's my number one, but that was the first film I wrote down.
Yeah, I have that as number 3. Creepypasta I have as number 1. My number 2, I will wait to see after what
the
you
same
say.
thing we have.
Maybe, could be.
I will avoid my next one that on my list because I think it's what we're both talking about, and I will go to my number, the second film I wrote down on my list. Second film, if you're looking at the Cuckoo.
Yeah, I'm surprised you hated that one so much.
The second movie I've walked out of in the past 30 years.
Yeah.
Cuckoo. And listen, I will say this. I will watch this again and revisit it and see if I'm wrong. And if I am, I will come back and have a mea culpa about it and talk about it.
Yeah.
But as I stand today, based on the fact that I walked out of it and it has to be on my list, I can't go, it was great.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not going to sit here and trash it. It just was very boring to me. Let's put it that way. It was boring. And I just was like, I'd had enough. I'd eaten, my snow caps were gone. My popcorn was gone. I'm like, I'm out of shit to do now. And I'm done paying attention to this film. So I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, I did leave with like probably 15 minutes left. And Gary's like, it would have made more sense. It's like, I know, but damn it, I couldn't give him 15 more minutes of time. Cuckoo.
Yeah, look, that did not land in my. It didn't land in my bottom at all. I actually enjoyed the movie, but it wasn't high on my list either. So it was.
Liked it.
It was in the same vein for me as Longlegs, atmospheric. I think looking at Longlegs, looking at Late Night with the Devil, looking at Cuckoo, I think the horror genre has some unique places to go, and I think these people are doing good jobs with it. I like that movie. I know you didn't. But for me, it just gave me more hope that we're going to get some more solid films in that genre. All right. So you only have one left?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be the same one.
It is. I guarantee it is.
All right.
It's a film that makes me angry when I think about it.
My synopsis is a frustrating misstep for the franchise, lacking substance and leaving little for viewers beyond disappointment. Oh, what a folly ado this was.
God, it was
Joker taking a number 2. Did not need to be made.
So bad. Just so epically bad. Just a total miscue. Totally. You had everything set to make this thing a massive blockbuster and literally start a franchise.
Yeah.
And you just misfired horrendously. I don't know if it's, out of touch, self-indulgent, high. I mean, how big was the amount of cocaine when you made this film? Because it did not land at all.
I would like to quote, if I might, Andy, a comedian and actual actor that was in the film.
Yeah, I know where you're going. Go.
Tim Dillon.
Yep.
Was in the movie briefly.
He was.
Said, it's not even hate watchable. That's how terrible it is. The worst film ever made.
Did he also say that he was, while making the film, they would sit like at the catering going, what is this about? Like, we don't even know what's going on.
Yes.
And they're making the movie and he's like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Now, granted, I know that, these actors that only have small parts in films aren't getting the whole script. I'm sure they're just getting whatever page they're on or whatever.
Sure.
But if you're around and you're seeing it made and you're watching some of these scenes that were put together, I could see you being like, what the hell are they doing with this? Especially knowing what the first movie was. I said it, a frustrating misstep. It is like you took this great, first of all, it never needed to be made.
That's true.
And as far as I'm concerned, it never was made. But to actually go through the money and the trouble of doing this thing and basically rewind and shit on everything that you had before is amazing to me. I know that there's some people out there that are saying that this movie's not that bad. You're crazy. You still understand the artistic vision and all these different things.
Nope.
BS.
I watched so many. I read so many reviews of this. People are like, you people are dumb. You're not getting it.
Yeah.
Okay. Film scholar, break down how great this film was universally panned.
Yeah.
Universally. I mean, the world is going, nah, baby, nah. No, you get off your high horse and stop acting pretentious. Going, oh, I got the film. Most people don't get it. I get it. Okay.
Yeah. This movie was rejected.
You're smarter than the rest of us. Gotcha. You're so smart they're not making another one. Let's put it that way. That's how smart you are. You're so smart that the Hollywood said, we're gonna pass. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, we're done. We're done with this.
We're going back to Batman. We're gonna get Ben Affleck back.
Well, that's it, Andy. I say we wrap up this episode. We've been talking a lot about what we did this year. We did cult classics this year. Yes. Quite a few films in that. We did some retro rewinds this year. We introduced a new unseen screen, where it's movies that Andy and I neither one have seen before. So we'll try to do some more of those soon. I would like to know if you guys are like the cult classics and the rewind. Those are fun to make. There's certain movies we just love to talk about, and we'd like to revisit some more of those. We want to do some other things on the Flick Flops channel as well. Things with film and breaking down some things, maybe talking about going through a series and maybe discussing a particular director or actor or something. And if you have any suggestions or anything for that, please put them in the comments. But this was a fun year, I think. I'm looking forward to next year, and we'll see what 2025 brings.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Take it easy, everybody.
Bye.
Was wild, a world awry, from cinematic hits to films that died. We've laughed, we've cried, we've loved, we've hated the flicks and flops of films we've rated. With Flick Flops, our end of year review of all of the films we brought to you. We ranked, we read it, we tried to decide which movie deserves a second ride.
This has been a Touch of Madness production, brought to you by the creative minds at Tommy Twins Media.